Oh, this next one's, you guys are going to be floored. You're going to love this next one. Y'all sitting down? Y'all waiting for this? Biden-Harris admin files lawsuit. But what lawsuit are they filing here? To stop Virginia from removing non-citizens from voter rolls. Brad, there must be a typo. There must be a typo. No, there isn't. No, there isn't. These same psychos are coming out saying, hey, we want to do everything we can to secure the border. We're doing everything we can to figure out your kitchen table issues. We don't want illegals voting. But yet, this is the crap they pull. Look at this. The Biden-Harris administration announced on Friday that it was filing a lawsuit against the state of Virginia for enforcing voter integrity laws in the state that aim to curb illegal voting in elections. Oh my God. Just right out there in the open. This goes in the same way when Doug Ducey of Arizona was trying to build a makeshift border wall to sit there and stop the influx of massive amount of illegal immigration, like 10 to 12,000 people per day. So he builds this wall of shipping containers, and the Biden administration's saying at the same time through Karine Jean-Pierre and Jen Psaki in the podium as White House press secretary saying, we're doing everything we can to stop the flow of migrants. We care. We're going to fix the issue. It's just a situation. It's not even a problem yet, but we'll figure it out. And so they sat there and sued the state, and they put forth the EPA. They put forth the EPA to remove the barricade. And so they're going to sit there and say, we're doing everything we can. In the same way, they're saying, well, we're doing everything we can about voter integrity. We're going to sit there and fix it. And then they sue the people. Assistant Attorney General, who has a history of espousing racist views, claimed without evidence that Virginia's move to increase election integrity was an 11th hour attempt and effort intended in part to disenfranchise qualified voters. Oh, the DOJ claimed that it was doing so because it was too close to the election. Oh, gotcha. So, oh, shit. Oh, boy. Hey, well, we're really too close right now. Sorry. So if you're illegal, you made it just right as the door was closing. You slid under the action pack. You know what I mean? You slid under. You're good. Just vote anyways. It's fine. It's too close to the election to change it. Wow. However, Virginia Governor Youngkin's executive order requiring that non-citizens be removed from the voter registration rolls was signed August 7th, exactly 90 days before the election. I mean, the guy did what he was supposed to do. No later than 90 days, the guy did everything he was supposed to do, and they're still coming out saying, nope, can't do it. The problem is the people who are being removed from the voter rolls are not in fact voters because they are not citizens, Youngkin said. Thank you. With less than 30 days until the election, the Biden-Harris Department of Justice is filing an unprecedented lawsuit against me and the Commonwealth, appropriately enforcing a 2006 law. Holy crap, man. Holy lordy. Wow. I told you they were going to do it. We called it. Go back to our old podcast 4 or 5 months ago. I mean, I would say even going all the way back to February, we said around August the shenanigans would start, and it in fact did start. And now we're sitting here and they're allowing non-citizens to vote. You know what's funny is we see this clip after clip after clip of these media outlets going, well, they're illegal, so they can't vote. No, duh. We get that, you knucklehead. We understand that it's illegal and they can't vote, but they're doing it anyways. In the same way these idiots go on the media outlets go, well, they can't get guns because it's illegal. Yeah, it's illegal to get guns. Did you know that? Yes, you knucklehead, we knew that, but they're getting guns anyways. Just because something's illegal doesn't mean that they're not going to do it. And they can't get it through their thick head because they're idiots. They're so stupid, and we're so great as a country that you could be that stupid, get paid millions of dollars to go on national TV and be that stupid. Well, they're criminals, but they're getting guns still. Jesus. And they don't know what to do. They're freaking out left and right. They're going on their own media outlets and just spewing a bunch of nonsense. They're glitching out. You know what I mean? Like Joe Biden does. Donald Trump's a racist. Like that's what they go back to, right? Their circuitry gets misconnected, and so they have a backup drive somewhere that just automatically goes, he's a racist. His medical records, right? All the stupid shenanigans. So they're freaking out. And why are they freaking out? Because Harris's campaign is falling rapidly behind Donald Trump. The honeymoon phase is over, and the media are doing everything they can to help that honeymoon phase continue. They don't know what to do because no matter what they say or do, nobody believes anything coming out of their mouths. So Vice President Kamala Harris has lost steam, and her edge against former President Donald Trump has slipped into 3 major polls with less than a month to go until the election. Yet another blow to the Democrats, who are already starting to panic about November. Harris has lost 6 percentage points on Trump in a single month, you guys, which is insane. Again, it just shows you how fabricated those numbers are. And I would go as far to say probably nothing has actually really changed in terms of Donald Trump's support and Kamala Harris's support. I think it was all fabricated from the onset. And I think a lot of it was BS. And so now we're just going back to normal numbers, back to when everything was what it was supposed to be in the first place, or was in the first place, and we were just being lied to. Giving the former president the slimmest lead, 47-46, no way in hell. I just don't believe it, man. I'm sorry. I don't believe those 50-50 margins or 47 whatever, 47-46 among registered voters. I just don't believe it. I see Trump showing up, getting 100,000 people at his rallies, which is more than what we saw in 2016 and 2020. I just, again, but I hesitate to say it, but Donald Trump allegedly lost in 2020, and he was still having massive amounts of people out to his rallies. So it could happen again where we're seeing all this stuff, right, with our own eyes. We're seeing all this stuff, all the support, the flags, the parades, the showing up for miles on end at his rallies or for his caravan. I mean, whatever it is, there's just thousands of people showing up for this man, and nobody's showing up for Kamala Harris. She has to pay people to show up to her rallies. She has to put on full-blown concerts for people just to show up, and then they leave. So they take their snapshots and their photos right when she takes stage. They kind of chauffeur her out there really quickly once the dance performances are done, so they can sit there and get a snapshot of everybody still in the crowd. Not to mention they're paying everybody like $150 minimum to go to these freaking events. So they don't know what to do. They're freaking out because she can't sit there and answer a question coherently in the same way either can her boss. And there's another survey from ABC News here also showing voters moving in Trump's direction nationally, with Harris still up among likely voters 50-48. I don't know who those voters are, and it makes me wonder how they're actually conducting this observational study, because, man, it seems a little bit bogus. Seems a little bit bogus to me and to all of you. Well, one of the things they're doing right now is because they don't know what to do. And when the media go in panic mode, in the same way, kind of like a lot of people just in general, when they start freaking out, they kind of go to their safe spot, their safe place in terms of talking points or things that don't make sense, but they still lead with it. For example, they're pushing this whole thing that Donald Trump won't show his medical records, that Donald Trump, there's something wrong with him. Now, this is a callback, man. This goes back almost 10 years ago, where when he was president in 2016, he was taking a glass. Y'all remember this? He had a glass of water and he was shaking slightly and he took a sip. No joke. They sat there and said, this guy, he's medical conditions, put in the 25th Amendment. He's not fit to hold office. I don't know if all you remember that, but I sure in hell do. And then he goes to a speaking engagement later, not like the same day, but later. And it was cold out. And, when sometimes there's a mist in the air or there's a lot of moisture in the air, that it will sit there and frost over on whatever platform you may be stepping on, the sidewalk or the asphalt or hell, a ramp, which Donald Trump was going. I think he was going up or down the ramp, and he was in business shoes. And if anybody knows high quality business shoes, it's even slippery on carpet. So he sat there and slipped a little bit. And because there was ice or water. Oh, 25th Amendment, look, he can't sit there and hold himself up. Oh, God, we got to get him out of office. But yet Joe Biden can sit there and fight with this teleprompter every single day and get his butt kicked. This dude looks for dead people in the crowd. He conversed with dead people, Democrats. And no, it wasn't just him conversing and hearing voices. He was seeing dead people. People that had been gone for 4 decades gone. Conversing with them, having a full-fledged conversation, Joey was. Joey fell up a flight of stairs, not once, not twice, multiple times. This dude fell off his bicycle standing stationary. How many of you knew people in your life that actually did that? Joe Biden hit a golf ball backwards when he was golfing. Now, I'm going to say that again because you might say, Brad, I think you messed up. No, there's clip, and I showed it in one of my shorts. Joe Biden hit a golf ball backwards. Now, I've golfed many times, never seen that happen before. Joe Biden gets lost. They lose track of this guy. He wanders off. His wife lost him at an event. That was like huge news. He wound up where there was no Secret Service. There's no protection for a president. Yeah. He sat there and wandered off away from the Secret Service. Everybody, they couldn't find him. And there's a bunch of people eating that weren't a part of the event. And they're like, oh, the president's here. Oh, and they took out their cell phones and started recording the guy. And he's like, hey, everybody. Like he was looking for the old folks home. And Jill Biden shows up and goes, oh my God, Joe, we were looking for you. So they're going to sit there and say that Donald Trump needs to release his medical records. This is what they're so out of touch now. They don't know what to do, that this is what they're pushing. So here's Kamala Harris.
So I released my medical records today. I appreciate you. So today I released my medical records, as has, I believe, every candidate for president of the United States except Donald Trump in this election cycle. And it's just a further example of his lack of transparency, that on top of his unwillingness to debate again, his unwillingness to do an interview with 60 Minutes, which again is part of the norm of what anyone running for president of the United States does. And I think that it's obvious that his team, at least, does not want the American people to see everything about who he is.
The cojones on this woman is bigger than Tim Walz. She's going to sit there and lecture us about medical records. She's going to sit there and pretend like the guy that's in office right now, who hasn't released his medical records, sorry, Democrats, like, he released his physical. Awesome. So a doctor grabbed the guy's balls and said, Mr. President, go ahead and cough for me. Wow, that's going to tell us a lot. Dude won't do a cognitive test. Well, my entire administration is a cognitive test, is what he said and she said. Good. Then you failed the test, Joe. You failed the test, Kamala. Your brain ain't working and everybody sees it and everybody knows it. Don't give me this crap like he should. I submitted my medical records. Like, I'm going to believe whatever medical records you push out after the fact that you were one of the least or most, you were the least transparent administration that's ever existed, lady. Don't give me this whole thing of like, well, he won't release his. The guy sits there and sleeps 4 hours a night. Are you kidding me? This dude sits there, does an interview when he wakes up out of bed. He sits there and rolls over and grabs his phone. He's like, hey, what's going on? Like 4:30 in the morning. Mr. President, shouldn't you be sleeping? I'm working. The dude was working during COVID. Remember when he got COVID and everybody was worried about him and somebody grabbed a photo through a window or whatever? And the guy's sitting there at like 2 a.m. working away with COVID and without a tie, he's just in a suit, just working. But yeah, we have Joe Biden hooked up to a CPAP machine 24/7, taking 40% of his presidency on vacation. I mean, there's natural disasters, and Joe Biden is on the beaches of Delaware kicking his feet. Look at me. Well, there's a hurricane, natural disaster. So the media are in full-blown panic. And, an NBC poll, there has been a 5-point swing for Donald Trump.
Headline, this is a national head-to-head poll, is that Vice President Kamala Harris had a 5-point lead in our last poll taken a month ago, right after the debate. That lead has all but evaporated, Willie. Take a look at this new head-to-head matchup, 48% to 48%. That is what we call a deadlocked race. It underscores what we all know, that this is tight, that the country is sharply divided. One of the other big headlines here, people are viewing the Trump presidency more favorably than the Biden presidency. Why is that significant? We've seen the vice president get pressed repeatedly on what she would do differently than President Biden, and she's really struggled with that answer.
Oh, she's been pressed. Yeah. We really pushed her hard on a lot of things. No, you haven't. Wow, you've asked her the same question over and over again, and she still can't answer. I mean, that says everything you need to know right there, right? But they're not going to talk about that. Wouldn't you sit there and tell the American people, yeah, we showed clip after clip, or we've asked the same question about a dozen times, and she still doesn't have an answer for it? Like, you would think they'd push that, but no. So more of the news outlets losing their minds, kind of talking about how Donald Trump's making a comeback. He's gaining Hispanic voters, black voters. They're freaking out.
I mean, the bottom line is this. At this particular hour, if you believe the polling, Donald Trump's going to put up the best performance with black voters since Richard Nixon back in 1960. Not 68 since 1960. That's 64 years ago. Among Hispanic voters, Donald Trump's going to put up the best performance for Republicans since 2004 and George W. Bush. I mean, the bottom line is this.
And they don't know what to do about it, you guys. They're like, well, we're doing everything we possibly can to make Kamala Harris look good. We're doing everything we possibly can. So here's Kristen Welker again, espousing the same thing. It's like main news to them. Like, we don't know what we could do to sit here and make this guy look worse.
We begin with our brand new NBC News poll and the headline. With just over 3 weeks until Election Day, former President Trump and Vice President Harris are now tied among registered voters, 48 to 48%. The 5-point lead Harris held after the presidential debate a month ago is now gone. Steve Kornacki will take us inside the numbers, including
Steve Kornacki will take us inside the numbers. Like they're going to sit there and tell you how they did all of it. He's just going to say the same thing she did with a plus or minus of 3.1%. But this is astonishing how Donald Trump could sit there and make a comeback. You want to know what like the real hardball numbers would be? The real numbers would be the fact that you sat there and lied to the American people for 4 years about Joe Biden's cognitive decline. Well, yeah, Walt's taken to the airwaves as well for the media because they need to get them out there, right? There's damage control needs to be done. Damage control needs to be figured out because they don't know what to do. So now that they're sitting there with a nosedive in the polls, all of a sudden Kamala Harris and Tim Walz want to do interviews.
Refer to red areas on a map as, quote, mostly rocks and cows. But the founders clearly wanted to protect voices in those areas. Do you not?
Yeah, well, the rest of that quote that they cut off was, I said, that includes my mom and my family. Look, my point on this is people feel, and they have to feel, every vote counts in every place of the country. And I think what the point was on this is they see us in battleground states and not across the country. So the campaign's position is clear on this. That's not to get rid of the Electoral College, but it's to focus on every vote. And I think your viewers out there...
I'm sorry. Oh, I'm trying so hard not to laugh hysterically. You start sweating, right, when you hold in a laughter. Remember, this is supposed to be damage control. They're trying to figure everything out. This is Tim Walz sitting there quadrupling down on his electoral stance. Remember when he said, we need to remove the Electoral College. We need to allow the popular vote to happen. Democratic vice presidential candidate Tim Walz on Tuesday said Electoral College needs to go, forcing the Kamala Harris campaign to release a statement saying it does not support abolishing the constitutional mechanism for presidential elections. Oh!
Electoral College needs to go.
So they're saying, all right, Tim, shit, our campaign doesn't believe that, so we need to go in there and get you to sort this out. Answer the woman clearly, okay, Tim? Tim, none of this. Our campaign, we believe in Electoral College, okay? Dude comes out on Fox News and quadruples down. Now the campaign says they want to remove Electoral College too. Oh.
Listening, want to see these campaigns in every corner, talking to every person. And look, as a rural guy, that's, again, you know how politics goes, cut off the back part of this. My point being on that is those are areas that need to be heard.
Yes, those areas do need to be heard, which is why we have an Electoral College, you idiot. God, these people are stupid. Ah! Oh.